Okay, engines fired up, we're set. Understood, stopping this lap. They're currently 16th. Okay, we've only got one lap of fuel remaining.
with qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top three: Surfer Girl, Hulkenberg and Max Verstappen. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today, here at the oldest circuit on the calendar, which hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. With the rain coming down here at the 3.6-mile Monza circuit, the low drag setups preferred by most teams could cause them some problems in today's Grand Prix. So watch out for cars struggling for grip around the Curva Michele Alboreto. That's the Parabolica to you and me, the last and most demanding of this track's 11 corners. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Surfer Girl lines up on pole position, and Nico Hulkenberg completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Lando Norris and Leclerc, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Gasly, Sebastian Vettel and Magnussen, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Lance Stroll and Guan Yu Zhou, Albon, Bottas. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once more by Anthony Davidson. Let's begin by discussing Daniel Ricciardo. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to power unit component changes. It's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway. These are wet conditions here today. Each driver will no doubt be mindful of the wet surface as they prepare to race around the track. So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. But the question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
Here's who we're really fighting today: Hulkenberg and Leclerc. Okay, heavy rain will be staying with us for a while now, at least a 20-minute window of heavy rain. Inters and wets will probably have very similar pace at the moment. remain now. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Shift the angle of the front wing to the -1 setup, moving the front wing to -1 on your next stop. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. That's a new fastest lap of the race. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 6.8 seconds. They're on a fresh set of wets. They're in second. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 36.7. Runs onto the pack, and as they go behind, they're going to get behind this in 5.9 seconds. They all fresh set of wets. now on the finish race in this compound. 9 laps to go. These conditions look like this year because you think at least 20 minutes of heavy rainfall. Hard to say if it's all wet, that's better right now. Gap to your teammate behind is 7.6 seconds. Okay, so heavy rainfall here to stay for a while. Doesn't look like it's moving on anytime soon. Okay, so by 6.8 seconds. Oh, there's a second. That was a 1:36.7. The difference is 11.3 seconds. They're on hold wet. That was a 1 minute 37.1. Okay, be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip anytime now. I definitely think we need to stay on this tyre a bit longer, but there's no question the track's drying. We might be in a position to change soon. The radar suggests that this heavy rain will be with us for a while now. Inters and wets will probably have very similar pace at the moment. Confirmed. Okay, fitting the wet compound when you next come in. Looks like it's probably about time we change tyres. It's a bit of a crossover period for sure, but the longer we stay, the worse it's going to get. To your teammate behind is 2.3 seconds. Here's some information on Russell for you. Okay, it looks like the problem's terminal. They're retiring the car. track is clear, green flag. That last lap was a 1:34.9. Race win! That is the race win! You've been amazing today, mate. You deserve that. Well done.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
A show-stopping performance from the three drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. Surfer Girl increases their championship lead. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I'll probably go for Pierre Gasly. The team did a good job with the strategy to put him in amongst the pack, but it's the driver's job to capitalise on those opportunities, and he did so with a lot of skill.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.